Boom, I'm in the room. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. Welcome to the old Heale Manor, and I'm your host, Lord Heale. Now, this channel's all about mental well-being, and you're here because there's nothing on the telly. Now, I'm gonna look at something today that kind of affects everybody. So, what we're going to look at today is the government affecting your mental well-being? That's quite an important question, isn't it? Because, let's face it, everything that the government does, and that's everything, affects us in some way. So we're going to have a look at just what's going on and how that's affecting you. So, the government, okay, they make policies, they make laws, they make everything that affects our lives. They dictate how much tax we pay, they dictate how much tax on everything. I mean, you just look, you get your pay packet, that's taxed. So you're paying your income tax, you're paying your national insurance. That's the first time it's taxed. Then you go down a shop and you buy anything and they stick another 20% tax on that money you've already paid tax on. And then you put in the savings. You've got a little tiny bit left over, you stick it into your savings and boom, they tax that. And then, when you pop your clogs, they tax that again. So everything you buy, everything you do is taxed. Okay? The government kind of needs money to be able to function, to be able to give you the services and that you need. So you need your street cleaners, you need your dustmen, you need your coppers, you need your armed forces, you need welfare support, you need your hospitals and all the rest of it. That's all got to be paid for somehow. But are they being fair with their taxes? Is the way that they are taxing you affecting your mental well-being? Now let's just have a look. Last year, I forget the exact date, but old Sunak, he was out of his depth. So he stood out the front of number 10 in a pissing down the rain and said, "I'll call in a general election." Now there's one reason he did that, and that's to throw Nigel Farage off. Which it did, kind of. Had they waited when they should have done it in October, Reform would have had an awful lot more people in Parliament. As it happens, they got 5. Okay, they're making an awful lot of noise, that 5. They are shaking the establishment to the core at the moment. So much so that Starmer's crapping himself. Now, so the election was held on the 4th of July, American Independence Day. Really? Was that necessary? Anyway, they did. So, from that time on, Labour got in with a landslide. Whichever way you look at it, it was a massive landslide. With, I think it was 462 majority. Conservatives got annihilated. Absolutely annihilated. They've only got, is it 172? And then the rest have got the pickings. Reform had 4.5 million votes. They get 5 MPs. So for every one of those MPs, they represent approximately 800,000 people. The Liberal Democrats, they got just under 4 million votes. They've got 72 MPs, I think. Something like that anyway. There's a total mismatch. Things ain't right. Anyway, so let's move on. So Labour have formed this government and they put their front bench out. Now, not a single one of them has had any business experience whatsoever. Not a single one of them has ever set up a business. So now they're running the country. Now we were told to hang on and hang on and hang on for Rachel from accounts to do her budget. Jesus Christ. And that it's hard. But just going back, they'd only been in a couple of days, and the first people they attacked was the likes of me. I should have got my winter fuel allowance this year, but no. Ha! Took that away. First thing they did was to take away the winter fuel allowance from pensioners. They kept on bleating on about this £22 billion black hole. They still haven't actually shown us where this black hole is. However, they've managed to find lots and lots and lots of money to pour out of the country. The next people they have a pop at is the farmers. So the people, right, the people that actually produce something, that do an hard day's graft for way below the minimum wage, most farms really struggle at making a tiny profit. All they want to do is be able to hand their farms down to their kids so they can carry on that legacy. There's some farms that have been up and running for centuries. The same family have been running the same farms for centuries. Now they're going to have to sell off parts of the farm to pay the bloody inheritance tax. What's that about? I mean, what is that actually about? Let's face it. They say, oh, it's not going to affect many farms. We're looking at only pulling in £500 million, £500 million. That £500 million, they want to send out the country to foreign farmers. Try and make sense of that. So if you're in the farming community, you're going to be struggling. I mean, farmers have traditionally struggled anyway. Farming is one of the hardest jobs to do. Farming are up there with the military when it comes to suicide. That's a fact. Farmers are taking their lives a lot, just like veterans. That's another group that they've had a pop at. Just this last week. In fact, there was a question in PMQs today about Northern Ireland and paying compensation to a terrorist. Jerry Adams. Paying compensation to Jerry Adams, who was a commander in a Belfast division of the IRA. He wants compensation. Yet they're still going after soldiers that they sent out there over these vexatious bloody claims 4 SAS blokes took out an IRA group that was doing something. They were planting bombs. They were getting ready to go and kill a load of people. Yet now they're going to be taken to court for it. That's what they're doing. They're not protecting the military. That is going to have a detrimental effect on several levels. One, you deploy out in a warfare fighting situation, or you're deployed out on peacekeeping. You come into contact. Are you going to have to worry about whether you open fire or not, because you might end up in court through discharging your weapon? I can tell you all about that. I did it in Northern Ireland on more than one occasion. We came under fire. My section commander was hit. I fired back 2 rounds. First one just missed the terrorist who left the weapon behind and ran away. The second one, well, they went slightly astray and took out a glass window of a church. But when I got back off of that patrol, my weapon was taken off of me. I was formally cautioned. I wasn't formally arrested. I was formally cautioned. I was taken to a police station and I was interrogated for around about 8 hours. I had to go through every single thing I did on that patrol, from the briefing to when I got cautioned. My weapon was taken away and it had to be forensicked. Now, had I hit that terrorist, I could have been looking at a charge. I could have been looking at having to be called back to Northern Ireland and asked why I fired at him. That's the reality of it. That's what happens. I was cleared at the time. My actions were in accordance with Card Alpha. That's what happens. I could still be hauled back for killing the church stained glass window. That has an effect up here. You worry. You do worry about that sort of thing. And even more so nowadays, because you're not protected. The terrorists are protected under the European Court of Human Rights, not the British soldier. We're not protected. No. So that has an effect on your mental well-being. We're coming up April. Okay, it's only a month and a half away. Your car tax is going up. Your car insurance is going up. The price of fuel is going up. The fact that we're paying the highest fuel bills in the world, nobody else has bills as high as us for fuel. People that are really struggling already are going to be struggling even more. How's that going to affect the general population and their mental well-being? Do you think this government actually cares about the general population in this country? Do you think that Starmer and his government are doing the best for this country? Think about it. Look how much money they're sending abroad. Look how much they are spending on foreign aid. Really? And they're telling us that we've got to pay for it. They've taken away the winter fuel allowance, but giving that money to Somalia. They don't need heating in the winter. Not like pensioners. But that has an effect. That affects mental well-being across the piece. People worry. It's a natural thing. But this government isn't helping. They are causing an awful lot of harm to people. And I don't think they care. Starmer only wanted to get into government. He only wanted to be Prime Minister. He didn't want to do anything else. All he cares about is other people's human rights. He was a human rights lawyer. Yet they won't get rid of the European Court on Human Rights. Why? When it doesn't protect the British citizens. Take the latest. This Albanian toe rag, a criminal, cannot. This is from a human rights judge. He cannot be sent back to Albania because his fat kid doesn't like foreign chicken nuggets. You heard that right. Can't be sent back to Albania because his fat kid, and you see the picture of his kid, he's a right little porker. Doesn't like foreign chicken nuggets. What's that going to affect other people in this country? We've got to fund, we've got to keep this foreign criminal because of the European Convention on Human Rights. It beggars belief. Rape gangs. The rape gangs. Look, they are protected. They can't be deported because of the European Convention on Human Rights. The fact that they've raped children, their human rights don't matter. They are still living in the communities where they raped these children. But the children's human rights does not matter. It's the fucking perpetrator that's got all the rights. What sort of effect does that have on the mental well-being of these children, of these young girls? It goes on and on. It just doesn't make sense. And every which way you look at it, you can't make it make sense. It just doesn't. It really does have an effect on people's mental well-being. What is going on? It's wrong on so many levels. But what can we do about it? We're not going to get the chance to have a vote. There's 5.5 million people that have been denied the vote come the 1st of May. And will they hold another general election anytime soon? We've got another 4 years before we get another vote. Apparently, we should be able to get a vote next May for local elections. But because they are reorganising, do you think they'll delay it for another year until 27? What sort of effect is that going to have on people's mental well-being? When they can't have a say. They can't say who is going to be able to spend their money. They say it's all about, oh, it's government money. Is it? Nothing. It is taxpayers' money. It's taxpayers' money they are spending. All these is giving away government money. No, it's not. It's giving away taxpayers' money. Hard-earned taxpayers' money. That's what they're giving away. That has an effect on mental well-being. They don't care. So think on, how is this government affecting your mental well-being? That's the question. What is this government doing for your mental well-being? So, before I get too wound up, just a couple of housekeeping points. You'll see there, just in the bottom there, that's my radio station. If you want to listen to some music, if you want to listen to all of my old recordings of ordinary people's extraordinary stories, everyday conversations regarding mental health, lots and lots of other stuff is on there. Tune into that, and you can just say, try it. Try this at home if you've got an Alexa. Say, Alexa, play Real Life Radio UK, and see what happens. Or put that into your browser and have a listen. So there you go. That's it from me for this week. I'm going to be away for the whole of March. Hopefully I'll come back recharged, and then I'll get back into having guests onto the show, and we'll be doing it live. So until then, TTFN. Ta-ra for now.